Thomas and friends, making tracks to great destinations. The island of Sodor is surrounded by beautiful blue sea. It has fields of green and sandy yellow beaches. There are rivers, streams, and lots of trees where the birds sing. There are windmills and a coal mine, and docks where visitors to the island arrive. The island also has lots and lots of railway lines. Who's that puffing down the track? It's Thomas! Hello, Thomas!
Hello, everybody! Welcome to the island of Sodor!
Bertie the bus was giving some visitors a tour of the island of Sodor. It was their last afternoon, and Edward was preparing to take them to meet Bill and Ben. He found it hard to start the heavy train.
Did you see him straining?
Asked Henry.
Positively painful,
Remarked James.
Just pathetic.
Grunted Gordon.
He should give up and be preserved before it's too late.
Shut up, burst out Duck. You're all jealous. Edward's better than any of you.
You're right, Duck, said Boko. Edward's old, but he'll surprise us all.
I've done it. We're off. I've done it. We're off, said Edward as he finally puffed out of the station. Bill and Ben were delighted to see the visitors. They loved being photographed. Later, they took the party to the China Clay Works in a brake van special. Everyone had a splendid time, and the visitors were most impressed. Then Edward took the visitors home. On the way, the weather changed. Wind and rain buffeted Edward. His sanding gear failed, and his fireman rode in front, dropping sand on the rails by hand. Suddenly, Edward's wheels slipped fiercely, and with a shrieking crack, something broke. The crew inspected the damage. Repairs took some time.
One of your crank pins broke, Edward, said his driver. We've taken your side rods off. Now you're like an old-fashioned engine. Can you get these people home? They must start back tonight.
I'll try, sir, promised Edward. Edward puffed and pulled his hardest, but his wheels kept slipping, and he could not start the heavy train. The passengers were anxious. The driver, fireman, and conductor went along the train, making adjustments between the coaches.
We've loosened the couplings, Edward. Now you can pick up your coaches one by one, just as you do with freight cars.
That'll be much easier, said Edward. Come on, he puffed and moved cautiously forward. The first coach moving helped to start the second, and the second helped the third.
I've done it! I've done it! Puffed Edward. Steady, boy, warned his driver. Well done, boy. You've got them! You've got them! And he listened happily to Edward's steady beat as he forged slowly but surely ahead. At last, battered, weary, but unbeaten, Edward steamed in. Henry was waiting for the visitors with the special train. Beep, beep. Sir Topham Hatt angrily pointed to the clock, but excited passengers cheered and thanked Edward, his driver, and fireman. Duck and Boko saw to it that Edward was left in peace. Gordon and James remained respectfully silent.
One day, Edward was in the shed where he lived with the other engines. They were all bigger than Edward and boasted about it. "The driver won't choose you again," said Gordon. "He wants strong engines like us." But the driver and fireman felt sorry for Edward. "Would you like to come out today?" "Oh, yes, please," said Edward. So they lit his fire, made lots of steam, and Edward puffed away. The other engines were very cross at being left behind. Edward worked hard all day. The coaches thought he was very kind, and the driver was very pleased. "I'm going out again tomorrow," Edward told the other engines that night. "What do you think of that?" But he didn't hear what they thought, for he was so tired and happy that he fell asleep at once. Next morning, Edward woke up to find nothing had changed. Gordon was still boasting. "You watch me, little Edward, as I rush through with the express. That will be a splendid sight for you. Goodbye, little Edward. Look out for me this afternoon." Edward went off to do some shunting. He liked shunting. It was fun playing with freight cars. He would come up quietly and give them a push. Then he would stop and the silly freight cars would go bump into each other. "Oh," they cried, "whatever is happening?" Edward played till there were no more freight cars. Then he stopped to rest. Presently he heard a whistle. Gordon was very cross. Instead of nice shining coaches, he was pulling a very dirty freight train. "A freight train, a freight train, a freight train," he grumbled. "The shame of it, the shame of it, oh, the shame of it." Edward laughed and went to find some more freight cars. Then there was trouble. "Gordon can't get up the hill," the porter called to Edward's driver. "Will you take Edward and push him, please?" They found Gordon halfway up and very cross. His driver and fireman were talking to him severely. "You're not trying." "I can't do it," said Gordon. "The noisy freight cars hold an engine back so." Edward's driver came up. "We've come to push." "No use at all," said Gordon. "You wait and see," replied Edward's driver. They brought the train back to the bottom of the hill. "I'm ready," said Edward. "No good," grumbled Gordon. They pulled and pushed as hard as they could. "I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it," puffed Gordon. "I will do it, I will do it, I will do it," puffed Edward. Edward pushed and puffed and puffed and pushed as hard as ever he could. And almost before he realized it, Gordon found himself at the top of the hill. "I've done it, I've done it, I've done it," he said proudly. he forgot all about kind Edward and didn't say thank you. Edward was left out of breath and far behind, but he was happy because he had been so helpful. At the next station, he found that the driver and fireman were very pleased with him. The fireman gave him a nice long drink, and the driver said, "I'll get out my paint tomorrow and give you a beautiful coat of blue with red stripes. Then you will be the smartest engine in the shed."
He huffed and he puffed and was soon at the top. He could see Spencer in the distance and chased him at once. Edward raced down the hill. Spencer stopped at Wellsworth Station. The Duke and Duchess wanted to buy some tea and cakes from the refreshment lady. Edward teetered into view. "Hurry, old boy," laughed Spencer. "Can't have you finishing too far behind me." Edward wished he could have a rest too, but the station master and the porters had heard about the race. "Hooray for Edward!" they cheered. Edward picked up steam and proudly puffed past Spencer. But then the Duke and Duchess finished their tea, and Spencer was off in a flash. He roared past Edward. Fastest and best, he boasted. Edward was nearly out of puff. The furniture felt heavier than ever. Up ahead, Spencer had to stop. The Duke wanted to take some photographs of the countryside. The Duke set up his camera. Spencer closed his eyes. "Nothing to worry about," he said lazily. Gordon was returning to Brendam Docks. He passed Spencer and knew Edward must be losing the race. "Edward is a waste of steam," he sniffed. But when Gordon passed Edward and saw how hard he was trying, he felt bad about what he had said. "Well done, Edward," he called. "You are a credit to the railway." Edward was so happy his boiler tingled. He found puff he never knew he had. The Duke and Duchess had finished taking photographs and were back on board. "Time to go," said Spencer's driver and rang the bell. But nothing happened. Spencer was dreaming of victory. He didn't hear the bell. And he didn't hear Edward puffing past him. Spencer's driver rang the bell again. When Spencer finally opened his eyes, he could see Edward heading towards the summer house. Nearly there, he gasped. Spencer took off as fast as he could. But as he reached the siding, his driver ordered him to slow down. "These are old tracks and you are a very heavy engine," he said. "You must go slowly." Spencer had no choice. He had to slow down. And he trundled slowly down the siding. With every click and every clack, he knew he had lost the race. Edward puffed toward the summer house. "I've won," he gasped. "I did it!" Edward felt like a really useful engine. "Hooray! I've won!" he cheered loudly. Edward felt like the pride of the Sodor Railway, and he was right.
He's the cheeky one.